myself, Jared Klein. Today is episode 77. For the audience, if you don't follow the Creative Process Twitter, first off, go down below, follow the Creative Process Twitter. But you will see episode numbers have changed. Episode numbers have changed simply because don't really know why. Looking back on it, why I started seasons, couldn't really tell you. There's not really any beginning or end to those either. So mainly, everything's just numbered from the beginning of when I determined season 1 started all the way till now, and we've had 76 episodes. So today is episode 77. First off, it's been a month since we uploaded, and I clicked before I started recording this one. I clicked start streaming on accident. Jacob, if you're listening, thank you for popping into the Twitch chat for the moment when I was streaming for about 6 minutes, saying the whole intro to this episode and everything like that, which is fantastic. So thanks, man. I really appreciate you jumping in. But yes, that is how rusty I am, apparently, at doing this whole podcast thing and recording and everything. Because I use OBS. First off, I use OBS. And the start streaming button is directly above the start recording button. And to use this and to be able to have, be able to see me on screen and be able to use what OBS is capturing, I have to hit start recording, and I accidentally hit start streaming. I know you can strip it from Twitch for a limited time using like your VODs or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, I did not want to go through that. So my whole explanation of why things haven't happened the way it was and everything like that and the direction of the podcast is completely scrapped. But yeah, basically, long mess up short, we're switching more to a creative realm podcast. If you noticed in my Twitter bio, which you probably didn't, but in my Twitter bio I changed it to like I talk about the creative industry here, and I added the Creative Process Twitter. So that's mainly what the podcast is going to be switching to. It's going to be switching to a lot more content creation type of, or creative industry type of guests, rather than just sports designers, which that is the majority of the guest pool that we have on. That's probably about 98.75% of the guest pool that we have on. There are a few in between there that are like, mainly brand designers or mainly photographers or mainly video editors, which I think we've had one video editor, 2 content creators. I don't think we've had an independent photographer on. We've had a couple branding artists or logo artists, but some work in sports, some don't work in sports, some used to work in sports. So yeah, that's basically the whole scenario now. Everything is, I'm taking a different approach because I feel like the aspect of creative process fits more of a realm within the creative industry as a whole rather than just within sports design. Granted, that's where my connections are, sports design and within the sports industry. So my immediate connections and my immediate friends that I want to have on the podcast are sports designers. They work within graphic teams and marketing teams within the sports industry, and that's really, what is kind of just the product of my connections. So I was like, yeah, let's get these people on. It's awesome talking to them anyways. Let's have them on. But now I want to try to branch out, get new and different people on rather than just sports designers over and over and over again. Obviously, if we have a topic or if I have something that I want to talk about that's been pressing or something that came up during the week of the episode and, hey, can you hop on Tuesday night and record a podcast? Maybe then, which obviously, this isn't like an end to having sports designers on. It's just I'm sending out feelers. This is the invitation for you, the audience, to reach out to me with recommendations of content creators, photographers, video editors, you name it, thumbnail designers. We've had a couple of those on. A couple designers that primarily work within thumbnails. Last episode 76, Robert Northcott was on. He works within the YouTube industry and does thumbnails for his clients. We've had Ben Simmons on a while back. I think, Ben, did I just butcher your last name? Ben Sparrow. Why did I say Ben Simmons? I think I was looking at an episode, Scott Simmons. And I said Ben Simmons. But yes, Ben Sparrow. Ben Sparrow we had on. So a couple different types of designers, a couple different niche designers. But all in all, it really has been of one type of, one type of niche, one type of industry, and that's within sports. And I want to change that. So moving on. You clicked on this episode because you wanted to either see what was going on and why it hasn't been posted again, and you're just like, hey, what the heck? Or you clicked on the episode because of the topic at hand that's within the title, and if you're watching on YouTube, it's within the thumbnail. But I saw a tweet today from Akshay Ram. Akshay, I can't remember if it's like Akshay or Akshay, but Akshay Ram. I apologize. I saw him tweet something today. His tweet says, it feels like sports creative mention quite frequently that they have to work 24/7 to get their jobs done. If you could own your destiny and implement one new thing to your team's process this offseason to bring that down to 8 hours, what would you prioritize? Looking through the replies, I saw a lot of different people take like a dream route, but then a lot of people take like more of a like, what's the word? I can't think of the word. More of a plausible and attack-minded version to figuring out this issue, right? Within sports, I know I just talked about we're not going to be, touching on sports design industry as like a one thing only, but this came up and I can talk on it because with my previous employment, granted, I'll paint the picture. Minor league baseball is a industry where everyone and anyone who works in minor league baseball, I should say the majority, I shouldn't include everyone. The majority of employees that work within minor league baseball have 7 or 8 different types of things that they do rather than just their job, rather than just like creative or like, if I'm a graphic designer, for example, my good job title was graphic designer. I know job titles are not really a thing that's super considered, when it comes to responsibilities. They just slap a title on it and say whatever. But to prove my point, I'm a graphic designer. I was also shooting photography. I was also working with the marketing team. I was also creating social content. I was also, directing sometimes when the project was my project and vice versa when the project was the senior designer's project. So, and also like around the park, like obviously this comes with minor league baseball, but picking up trash, cleaning up the park, helping sometimes with whatever's really needed to be done around the park. Pulling tarp was a big one. That's a big one within minor league baseball that people love to hear. But just to prove a point, like within minor league baseball, everyone has a lot of different responsibilities that they are responsible for, right? So the time aspect of things, yes, you get what you need to get done. But for my job specifically, and for designer and senior designer, for our jobs specifically, we weren't always able to do what we wanted creatively because of the main thing was because of time, because things were, quick turnaround when it comes to certain specific things, and other things that are making us money take priority, obviously. So that wasn't the only type of thing. Maybe some things that make us money, they're taking priority, but then there's other things stacked behind them and stacked down the totem pole that don't necessarily directly make us money, but they go in front of they go in front of the other creative type of things that the designer and I wanted to do, the senior designer and I wanted to do. So yeah, that's like the whole aspect of things. And I was like going back when I saw this tweet from Akshay about time management and what would you change? In actuality, I don't think I would really change anything about the whole scenario, but realizing how important, if you want to get it done, like the aspect of if you want to get it done, you'll get it done type of scenario. Like, yes, there's 8 hours in a day, and some days, obviously, you're super busy and you're super swamped. But 8 hours, if you really want to get something done, is enough time to get something done. One of the one of the comments in here. I just skimmed over it. It says, put a graphic designer in as many content planning meetings as possible. The planning process is the best way to avoid last second changes and turns. That was tweeted by Matt Remke. I think I said your last name correctly, Matt Remke at MATTROEMBKE on Twitter, Matt Remke. So like that aspect of the planning, yes, having your graphic designer seated at a table, whatever, that's the type of thing. But the planning aspect of everything that has to happen. Obviously, some things come up, and to be honest, a lot of things just came up within the minor leagues. I don't want to generalize the minor leagues, but I'm using that term within the minor leagues as a reference to my previous job. A lot of things really did just come up, and that's just the aspect of things. That's just kind of what trickles down when people have a lot of responsibilities. Some things, let's say you talk about it one week and then the next week it got swept under the rug because you have different other pressing things to do, especially if it's a homestand. You have so many different other responsibilities that you have to take care of. And then that thing comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's due in a day. So, and that's just like a product of the environment. That's a product of the whole scenario. But in actuality, it's the whole planning and preparation type of stuff. So Porter said, I've had Porter on the podcast, Porter Gray at PORTER_GRAP on Twitter, Porter Gray. He says, I would allow more time for planning / preparation ahead of time. A lot of last second things are relatively simple tasks that just take time. Having templates set up could allow that content to be produced without an overbooked designer and save everyone some stress. That is also a very good way of everything. We've talked about that a lot on the podcast, specifically with Anthony Garro and Mallory Heiser. It's more along the lines of streamlining your creative process so other people that aren't designers can use templates that you set up, making them super easily accessible. Having for Anthony's situation, he used a lot of texture, used a lot of different stuff, so making sure a lot of things are organized and everything like that. But yes, like making things as seamless and streamlined as possible to help people deal with creating a graphic if you're bogged down. But in all actuality, it really comes down to, I think the root of it is just time management, whether it's using planning to create that management system or use something like Asana or a notebook. I've showed you guys my task list notebook. I use that at work now still. I use that, I've used that for probably 2 or 3 years straight now. I think I got it from Andy Frisella, if I'm not mistaken. He's the owner of First Form. He has a podcast called Real AF or Real as Fuck. But yeah, he mentioned something about having like 8 things to get done in a day. So I think I did, like when I was at home by myself, like over the summer when I did school or something, I would make 8, but now it's really just at the beginning of the week right now in work. That's just kind of how things are structured. In the beginning of the week, I create, the task list and add things as the week goes on, just to make sure I know what has to get done. But yeah, in actuality, I think it really is just a time management type of thing. It really comes down to how you structure your time, and especially if you need to get certain things done, that's really what it all comes down to. Whether your method to your madness of structuring and making sure you get projects done that have to get done, whatever that scenario is and however you want to take care of it, that's up to you. But making sure you have a system to make sure everything that you need to get done can get done. And if you can't get it done, then it comes to the communication, but that's a whole different aspect of things. But yeah, really it's just like, whatever method I've used Asana. We used Asana back with the Timber Rattlers, and it was great. It was a super great, like cross-referencing tool, because I would have that notebook where I write everything down. I write projects when I get them. And then I used Asana, and actually our email, when we had a graphic project come in that was primarily dictated over email and communicated over email, I would flag the email and also use that as a cross-referencing system just to make sure, everything was in line. So basically my whole process was from physical task list, like physical writing down a checkbox to make sure I have it, to Asana, which is a digital checkbox, and then to the email, which another form of digital checkbox with that flag button within your email. And I've always flagged important emails, or like within like Google, within Gmail, you can like star them or something if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I've always kind of went that route of making sure I have the opportunity to not get stuck and not get behind with certain things. So yeah, that whole process. And now I use a very similar process, but it's just without Asana. So that whole task list to email cross-checking and everything. Well, technically we have a spreadsheet that we use. It's creative needs spreadsheet that we use with Capture now. So there is that third, but it's not like a physical, not like Asana where you click a button and it like goes away from your task list. But yeah, in actuality, it's just time management. It's how you manage your time. It goes back to, if you want to get it done, like if it's something creative that you want to do, it really comes down to, if you want to get it done, you'll get it done. You'll allocate your time. You'll cut your lunch to 20 minutes or 30 minutes instead of an hour. You'll make sacrifices in different areas to make sure you can get something done that you want to get done or that needs to get done, whether it's a want or a need, right? Things stem from there all the time. So yeah, this is a quicker podcast, about 15 minutes or so. So yeah, just wanted to talk about time management and that tweet from Akshay. By the way, his Twitter is at BYAKSHAYRAM, by Akshay Ram on Twitter. But yeah, that tweet kind of sparked something in my mind that I wanted to talk about and wanted to share with the audience today for episode 77. So again, thank you for coming out. I really appreciate you listening to today's episode I almost said 27 again, episode 77. Go down below, check out socials, follow the Creative Process Twitter. There's a lot of updates that go on there. I do not really post much about the Creative Process podcast on my personal Twitter. I do reshare things, but if you want to stay in tuned with the podcast, make sure updates, make sure when everything's uploaded and ready for the episode. My guess is a lot of you already follow that, but go down below, follow the Creative Process Twitter. My stuff will obviously be down there as well. So thank you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, month, week, whenever you are listening to this, and make sure you tell someone that you love them. All right, we will see you in episode 78. Take it easy.